Ooh, auto chaps, I'm Magical Mike and this is my shot at making Drizzt Do'Urden in Dark Souls 3. As I let the sliders go by, let's talk about who Drizzt is. He's a fictional character in the Forgotten Realms campaign setting for Dungeons & Dragons. Drizzt was created by author R.A. Salvatore for the Icewind Dale trilogy of books and has since become an incredibly popular character, appearing in many more of his books and various games as well. You've likely seen him in Baldur's Gate or Baldur's Gate 2 if you've played those, and if not then you've probably at least heard of him before. There's tons of defining features for this character, lots to really pick out and replicate using Dark Souls items, so let's talk details. First off, he's a drow, or a dark elf, so he's typically described with dark skin, long white hair and unusual lavender eyes. You can make your own judgments on my sliders. I don't think I'm very good at manipulating them for sensible looking characters, but I gave it a go. So on to gear. He's a ranger in his D&D setting, so Drizzt has a lot of versatility and numerous unique magic items at his disposal. Rangers usually wear light or medium armor sets to allow for more dexterous mobility and feats of acrobatic prowess, but not always. Drizzt usually does though. In fact, he's known for being able to go into a sort of combat trance, avoiding blows and striking back with his own attacks at incredible speed and with almost supernatural agility. If you look at a lot of the images that you'll find of Drizzt, he's typically wearing dark mithril chainmail for armour, a lot of browns and blacks made out of layered segments, otherwise known as laminar armour. I didn't particularly find anything that was both a suitable material and had the same features, so compromises had to be made, but that's why cosplay within games can be so interesting. So two different outfits stood out. The first is a darker, more leathery set made out of the Drang armour, Black Knight gauntlets and Black Knight leggings. If you're worried about taking too much damage from not using a headpiece as well, then you can use the Ragged Mask or the Pyromancer's crown, which will fit the style without causing too much distraction. The Drang chest piece comes with a decently stylish flowing cloak as well, which is another important piece to the Drizzt look that I've not mentioned yet. You see, he normally wears a forest green cloak with thick white fur mantle around the shoulders, so while the Drang armour does have this furry bit, unfortunately the cloak is, well, it's black, isn't it? So that's no good. Which brings me to the second set, a more metallic interpretation but featuring that lovely green iconic set piece. This is the forearm armour, Wolf Knight gauntlets and Silver Knight leggings. Again, the Ragged Mask and Pyro crown could fill the head slot if you're bothered with armour stats. It might be a relatively easy job to mod the texture of the Drang set to get that green cloak there, and if so, then that would be my favourite armour combo of these two. So how about weapons? Drizzt is known for wielding two magic scimitars, Twinkle and Icing Death. Yeah, Twinkle, what a menacing name, right? But hear me out. Twinkle is a defending scimitar that can be used to parry opponents' blows, and would softly glow blue when it detected nearby danger, a little bit like Sting in Lord of the Rings. Icing Death is a black adamantite hilted scimitar with a blade of silver that had the powers of a frost weapon, and it could also be set on fire under certain circumstances. This gives us a number of options since Dark Souls 3 has a lot of scimitars in the game. Number one being the Dancer's Blades. The colours match up very well, the focus attacks look fantastically agile and stylish, if lacking in actual usefulness, and overall give the impression of a magical set of artifacts. These are easily my go-to weapons for this cosplay. However, the split damage types may put some of you off, so the Sellsword Twin Blades are a pretty good alternative if you want to still dual wield, do all physical damage, and still have some fancy attack animations. If you want to PvP, the Cartha's Curved Sword is a decent option if you just want a single blade, or the Follower Saber if you have the DLC and still want a single blade. Some of my other favourites are the Demon's Scar, just for the fashion because it's a cool fiery blade, and the Pontiff Knight Curved Sword, because the focus attack produces a huge icy blade that again looks very flashy and could very easily pass off as Icing Death. You can also carry this in the offhand just for that huge scabbard that it has on your character. A simple infused scimitar can be used in the offhand as well if you want some FP regen, since you're going to be using quite a few of those fancy attacks and spells, and if you're any good at parrying with them then you can use it for that too. I, however, am decidedly not. One additional piece of gear to talk about is Tormaril, I've no idea how to actually pronounce that, which is a longbow that fired alchemical silver arrows that became a whistling streak of silver light when in flight. And to replicate this I picked up the Darkmoon longbow and Darkmoon arrows because they're supposed to do the exact same effect when focus attacks are used with those arrows. Sadly it doesn't really work visually, but in lore it is supposed to. Again, the damage types are split, so if you're looking for raw numbers then simply replace it with a composite longbow if you're really after that sort of stuff. Finally, we've got rings and spells, which are mostly more for style points, but can be fairly handy for PvE. Hidden Body and the Karthus Milk Ring add to the stealthy, agile feeling that Drizzt has in combat, and Hidden Body allows you to stealthily make your way through a lot of tough sections of the game, much like the Ranger would be able to in his Dungeons & Dragons setting. Spook can be also used to help with this. The Obscuring Ring could also be swapped in for invasions if you want to do that sort of stuff to hide from people at long range, but that's up to you and your roleplay, really. Karthus Beacon can improve weapon damage during Dancer's Sword Art spam, but it's usually not worth the cast. Poison Mist can be used a bit like the Darkness spell from D&D, which Drizzt was known for casting to blind his opponents, but again, it's not very effective. Cast Light is also fairly useless, but since he can cast Fairy Fire, it was the best I could do to emulate that as well. It's the details, you see. You'll likely need Havel's Ring to wear all of this gear. Chloranthy Ring helps with keeping up your offense and your spam dodging, and the Untrue Dark Ring is for staying human looking and for that all-important fashion souls. The stats here are nowhere near optimised, I don't really think that anyway, but I was able to very comfortably beat the game with this large variety of tactics available to this build. I was also able to do quite a lot of jolly cooperation over the time playing it, and overall it was a massively fun time, and you should probably try it out if you're interested. So there you go, one Drizzt Do'Urden recreated in Dark Souls 3. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.